So in this video we're going to look at some base stuff. Actually, we're in the high level end of the actual aircraft and do some minor adjustments here and there. So it should be a relatively simple video, relatively small video, but we'll pick them up and we'll go through each of these components in the higher level. So there's some bits and pieces that need adjusting, and we've seen that from the flight patterns before after we did the engines. So let's look at those. So in the first one in actor, actually we don't have to do anything there. There's very little to actually change from within here. We're keeping everything else that's in these standard ones. I mean, you could put some stuff about overriding combat role, but there's no real need to do that stuff. So we can close that one off. In flight info, the suspensions for the landing gear we'd need to look at in there. Again, not really very important right now. Having a quick look at a couple of things on here. So AOA ref, so centre of its mass is probably worth a bit of a look at here. In that centre of mass, probably for this aircraft is probably going to be slightly south of there. Look where it is. It's also probably going to be more actually in the middle. The AOA ref, you can decide whether you want that to be adjusted slightly. I think I'd leave that way it is actually pretty much. I can't really see a good reason for changing that right now. If we line it up, you can see it's probably near enough through the nose. Maybe if anything a tiny bit lower. So yeah, that's probably about right if I'm being honest. Like I say, I'd drop it down a tiny bit for the AOA. So that's just a reference point for your angle of attack when it's working out the various angle of attack stuff. So let's go back to the top level in here. So none of that's worth worrying about right now. Health, you can decide whether you want to make a change to the health. It's also start health, probably about okay. You can maybe make an argument for a slight touch more, maybe like 250 or something. Slightly bigger aircraft. Nothing to change in there. Drag, yeah, I'd be tempted to bump the simple drag up a little bit. Maybe take that up to 0.1. It's quite a heavy aircraft, is the F-15. You can do some working out of this. So fuel tank actually is an interesting one. So we've got a fuel tank set in a 316 here with fuel density quite zero. Don't worry about the fuel density as such, but we are going to have a look around at what the starting fuel tank should be. So let's have a look up online. Let me see what that says. So F-15 fuel tank, fuel capacity. See if we can find anything which says it online. So we do F-15 fuel capacity. That's for the actual conformal tanks. Come down to all the specs down here. Let's have a look what it says. 2A canvas, ferry range, combat range, radar. Sometimes it tells you, sometimes it doesn't actually. You see thrust to weight ratio is 0.93. Interesting. Doesn't mention it. Often it does actually, and it's unusual that it doesn't mention it at all. Okie dokie. Let's have a look elsewhere. Sheesh. Gosh, you'd think it'd be easy, wouldn't you? So I'm going to say £30,000. £35,000 including 3 externals, which are going to be about 3,600. Okay, so looking it up, it seems like it was about 7,800 from what I can see. 7,836 litres, which is what this is in. So we'll change that to 7836 litres. It's mass before any other calculations. So we go back to here, have a look on here, what's its general mass? Empty weight 14.3979, so that goes into here, so that goes to 14.38. Vehicle master, actually we need to move into here, so we'll lock that down and we'll go find the F15 player vehicle, make sure it's got the right player vehicle on it. Everything else should be standard. We'll worry about some of the other bits and pieces later if we need them. Weapon manager I'm not going to worry about right now. Aero controller, we're not going to worry about right now. Flight system I'm not going to worry about. Flight logo, player vehicle setup. This should be all good because anything else that's in there is fine. Canopies should be set by everything else. Hide objects should be fine. Yep, I think I'm okay with all those. Flight assist, air formation leader, flight logo, player vehicle setup. Measurement manager standard. Visual target finder. Yeah, I wouldn't touch anything in there either. Vehicle input manager. Everything should be fine in those. Wheels controller, everything is fine in those. For now. Everything fine in those. Everything fine in that. Everything fine in that. You can make some changes to missile detectors if you want. What might be useful just to show you where those are. So there are some large detectors down here. Review them from above. Launch detector. View these from above. You can see where they are on the aircraft. Now, you might want to maybe move these out slightly just because of physically where they are. So maybe move them out to the edges here, if anything. Maybe just hold this one in up near the nose kind of thing. There's your large detector from there. But other than that, not much I'd bother with changing. You could increase the detection range or the detection interval if you wanted to make it slightly better. In terms of better avionics and stuff. It's viable. Ship controller, we don't need to touch any of that stuff. Countermeasure manager. You could, if you wanted, go make some changes in here. At the moment we don't need to make any changes on there because it's all fairly standard. None of the numbers get changed in here, so that's okay. VTOL collision effects, yeah, we don't need to worry about that. Vehicle finder, we don't need to worry about that. Don't need to worry about that. Don't need to worry about any of that right now. collision detectors. Again, we don't really need to worry about that. There's a collision detector. We can look at that actually. So the collision detector in here. Interesting that there's 3. So we can see which ones are in use, which are those 2 top ones. I'm not sure why we've got a 3rd one actually. Just delete that. A collision detector actually tell you where it's going to scrape along the edges of another aircraft or against things. So what? It's like a way to tell you you're near the edge with it. So I just put it just on the edge of the wings. And the same on the other side. Sometimes we can get up slightly in front of that just because it's a way of making sure you're aware of it before you actually get hit. Radar cross section is actually an interesting one. When you change your aircraft and you want to you change the size of it, for example, you should expect to see a slightly improved. If you increase the size, you should expect to see higher RCS. So RCS is radar cross section. Bigger your aircraft, the more likely it is to return things. There are 2 elements to here actually. One is its size, and one is its override. Size is to do with how big it is, and I'll show you a little bit of that in a minute. The override is if you've got something like an F-22 and you want to create an F-22, you wouldn't want it to just be based on its size. You want it to be based on the fact that it's actually got an improved multiplier. So you could set that to 0.01, for example, and it would times that by that to give you a better number. So that allows you to do that. For this vehicle, I wouldn't bother. If you're doing a stealth vehicle, I'd have a look around at roughly what you'd expect that to look like. Probably about about 0.01. You're going to multiply it for a stealth 0.0, somewhere between 0.01 and 0.05 maybe. If you're wondering how to get the RCS figure, the way to get that is you come into here and click on that, the 3 dots, and you do a generate RCS. We'll do it now because I don't think I've done it. And you can see the Mirage was 7 point odd, and it estimates that this would be 9.7. And it does all that working out for you and works out where the reflectivity and all that kind of is based upon the meshes. It's not perfect, but if you want a really nice simple number, then that's the way to do that. Vehicle control manifest, I wouldn't worry about any of that stuff. It's not really important. Aircraft livery, not really important either. None of these things in here are actually important right now. We'll look at them later. We've already done some of it anyway as it goes, but not really important right now. And none of that's important because we'll fix that when we do damage stuff later on. So really, that's just looking at the top level, the base things we can change. It's that. What we'll have a quick look at actually is that the on here, before we changed a bunch of these things so that we've got new numbers and all that kind of stuff. The one thing that actually is worth changing on here after we did all that stuff really comes just down to this one thing, which is I don't think we changed the picture before. So the way to do that is what we'll want really is we'll want a picture of the aircraft, because this is what appears when you try and select it from the select screen. So ideally what we want to do is get a picture in place that replaces that. So let's have a look at what that currently is. So that is a 1024 by 1024 RGB compressed texture. So what we're going to have to do is going to have to go and create one based upon that. So let me go and have a quick look in here. I don't know what I've got as it goes. Let's have a look at pictures maybe. I don't know. Have I got any pictures of it? Probably not. Probably not. So what I might have to do is go to my videos, and have I got one from this recently? I may not even have one, which might be a bit of a bummer, but let's have a quick look. Where have we got them from? That's not that one. It's annoying. Nope. Hopefully I've got one. Maybe I haven't. Be annoying, wouldn't it? Nope. Put one in here, I wonder. I'll probably have one from one of the other ones actually. I wonder if I have one from one of the other ones. And push it forward. So that fixes the engine on me. I'll probably find one here somewhere. So so what I'll do is I'll prep a picture offline because that's always going to be taking 2 minutes. Okay, so I have to go and get myself some pictures based upon VTOL VR, which is in screenshots now, which should give us something we can work with, even if it's only temporarily. I forgot it has them in there already actually. So that's probably not a bad shout. So we'll go with that one, I think, maybe. So what we want to do is find that one, take a copy of it. I'm going to shove it into VTOL VR mods. Shove it in the F15. Paste it there. Then I'm going to open with GIMP. And we need it to be 1024 by 1024. So an image, best way to do it, do that, and maybe go to something like 60 by 2160. Do that. I wonder whether it do that or not. Maybe go like that. Image, crop to selection. And overwrite. Okay, just get that. Yeah, about that bit. Come into here, and what we'll do is we'll do asset, import new asset. We'll go via here. Import that one. So now we've got that in there, add that into a 15S tool, and if we have a look at the F15 here, we'll do a search around for it. What are we called? I think it was called screenshot. Screenshot 103, and that will replace it. So that's the only other thing that's probably worth doing right now. The other things in here are all standard stuff that will get fixed when we do something like the hard points, etc. later. So once we've done all that stuff, as usual, what we'll do is go to prefab instances, F15 base, replace anyway. Do an asset build in the asset build browser. Do a build. And once that's finished, we'll copy it over put it into our folder and try it from there. Let's see if that in a second. Okay, so when we're loading this time, we should find it slightly different. Hopefully. Load. There we go. We have our new picture. To replace the Mirage one that we've been using for a while now. Click on that. Click on that. Now, you can see, having moved that centre of mass back, that's actually turned out to be a bit of a problem. So we probably need to fix that later. Part of that problem is actually down to the fact that the of where the wheels are. The actual centre of mass is in the right place, it's because the wheels are funny. But we can do it later. TWR now is 1.24, which is about right. Yeah. Fuel is now at 7836. So we're kind of getting there with some of the bits and pieces on it. So, having done all that, we're kind of now at a point where we've made a few base changes in that base layer. I'll put it on because it's not worth worrying about too much, but we fixed a bunch of things, a bunch of simple bits and pieces that were worth fixing up right now, and we'll then start to move forward with actually making it flyable in the next piece. So that should be good. We'll put the wings in the right places, and that's part of the issue actually with this right now, is that the wings are in the right places. If you have a look, actually, it's interesting where that centre of mass is, which is around this middle point here. If you look at where the arrows are, which is where our wings come in, they're here, and our centre of mass was miles back there, and that's part of the problem. You realistically can't do that. You can't have your centre of mass that far away from that. However, that's fine, and we'll fix that as we go. But that's for the next video.